Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online help video with me, Sherman. Today guys, we're going to be talking about how to play one-bar builds for those people who have a lot of trouble trying, well, you guys get what I mean. For those who have a disability, if you will, that doesn't allow them to do bar swapping really well, or maybe they're like me, they have tremors, and they're just looking for a build that they can play in the game and allows them to play the game and have fun, enjoy it, do all the content. And I will admit, some of these builds I would not use in veteran trials, probably just stick to normal trials. And like when it comes to the Dragon Star Arena, you probably can get by with this in there, and even in Maelstrom if you are really willing to work hard to become a better player. Now, one of the things I am going to be doing is there's a link in the description below to a video on how to get this precursor dummy. This is going to help a lot because I'm going to tell you guys, practice. Practice makes perfect. So, yeah. Alright. So, what did I do with this? So, this is a Warden character. I am going to tell you that now. This is a Redguard Warden, but you can do this with any class. See, what I did was I went last night and I went and looked around at YouTube at different one-bar builds that people made to play the game. And I looked at about 20 different ones, most of them Sorks. And I said, okay, can I do this? Is there a way I could do this on every single class in the game with every weapon type? And then I started looking at the gear sets, I started doing this, and I was up this morning at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, like researching this. Like gear sets and figuring out, okay, what's going to be the better option for stamina people, what's going to be the better option for magicka, this and that. And there's a lot of different stuff. Now, this video is mainly on stamina only because I have to do two separate videos. Magicka's a lot different than stamina. Stamina's higher than magicka. So I figured I'd separate the two. Now, not every class is going to use certain tools, okay? They're not going to use every tool under the sun. Some are going to use different tools based on different situations. And I'm going to kind of go over all the different tools in this video. I need to do something real quick because I forgot something here. And I'm going to go ahead and do this too. Okay. And while I'm at it, may as well just do this. Alright. So, what did I learn? Well, I learned that stamina build, or any one-bar build, mainly needs a spammable and an AoE. As long as you have those two things, you can play a one-bar build pretty good. And you can pull decent numbers. In fact, with this, I as you can see there, on a parse, because I do have the same issues as some people. I do have a disability. I have tremors. I shake all the time. I'm like Wile E. Coyote on earthquake pills. I start off with small shakes, and then all of a sudden they get worse and worse. And it really comes with my adrenaline, my nervous, because it's part of my nervous system. Let me just explain. So when I was 5 years old, I was hit by a car. And the car, when it hit me, it snapped my neck. And it broke. It didn't break my neck, or my skull got broken. I had a 4-inch break in my skull fracture from the base of my neck, from right at my neck to the top of my head, and it was a perfect straight line crack. Now, it did cause some other problems, mentally, yes, as well. But those weren't nothing bad. It just it made me have basically ADD, attention deficit disorder. I have a hard time focusing on things, and that's why I tend to wander when I talk. And there is some other things with it, but mostly the neck, when it snapped my neck back into the hood of the car, what happened was it pinched a nerve in one of my in my vertebrae, and this is what causes me to shake, is because that nerve is constantly pinched, so it's so it's constantly making my nervous system shake, like all over. And because of that, I do have a disability, and it's called tremors. No, some people get it from head injuries, some people are born with it, some people get it with time due to old age and things like that. Mine is, right now, it's becoming a mix because I am 44 years old. But so I wanted to figure this out. How can we play this way? So I'm going to show you the parses that I did. This is the first parse or the last parse I did, and this is the first parse that I did. And you can see where, like, I was getting better as I kept practicing. And that's what I really want you guys to understand, is to practice. Now, this is a Warden setup, so Wardens can actually take advantage of several things. They can take advantage of their pet. They can take advantage of a lot of their class skills to make them have better resource management and self-healing. Plus, they get 2 really powerful abilities for doing damage. And this is what makes them really strong. So I'm going to go ahead and summon my pet. And I'm going to parse on this, because I haven't done it with the bear yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a full parse, and just to see how this works. And I'm going to show you guys the gear. I'm going to go over all the skills, what skills would be best for different weapon types, and different, depending on the class that you're playing. I'm going to go over, like, how you can use the skills of the class and what skills you're going to want to use. Kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and let's do this first, a parse, so you guys can see. Alright, so first thing, no potion. We're just gonna buff, because the Warden has everything it needs built into it. Oops, I keep making mistakes. So with the Warden, you're gonna want to do the subterranean assault, do the birds until you see the sub-assault, then do the birds again, until you get that sub-assault off again. So you're going to want to basically do birds, sub-assault, birds, like with a light attack in between every one. So how you're going to want to do it, let me get rid of my bear. Otherwise he's just going to keep attacking stuff. Would you just work for me, game? Oh, and if you guys want to know how to do that, I just right click on it and it'll make it go away. You can do the same thing with foods. So if you want to get rid of certain buffs, you can just turn it off. So with this, I'm using Tri-Stat Food because I want that higher max resources because of the way this build plays. Excuse me, I had to sneeze. Allergies, again. But you can see we have, I'm going to go ahead and show you this so you can see. We are a one bar build, Red Guard Warden. We have 17k magicka, 19k health, 38k stamina, 1,176 stam recovery with a 2502 weapon damage, 14k spell resist, 14k physical resist. We are using the Lover Mundus Stone with this setup, and not every setup is going to be able to play without pots, without power pots. Some will in dungeons and normal trial settings. And there are going to be better gear sets that you can get. Like if you can get Reliquin to swap out for one of these sets, it would be a lot better option. In fact, some builds are going to work better with with one of the sets I have and not the other, because you're going to want to maximize like everything about your character. So the thing you have to understand about playing a one bar build is it's like almost like playing a solo character. You want to be able to have the tools necessary to do different things. So in this case, with being a Warden, the skills I put on my bar is I put the Wild Guardian, because this is going to give me extra DPS, period. And when I use its ultimate, it's going to do even more DPS. And it's super cheap. It only costs me 75. The next thing, and I think it is 75. Well, we'll figure it out. The next thing is you're going to want to buff your resistances. This is going to give you survivability and everything else. With the Warden, they get minor protection with their resistance buff. You're going to want to go with that one. That's going to give you greater survivability. Then you're going to want to use the Bull Netch, because this is going to give you major brutality. So it's going to boost your weapon damage. And then you're going to want to use Green Lotus, because this is going to give you minor savagery. Plus it's going to give you a heal. Now if you're playing any other class that doesn't have these 3 different things, look at what, well, your class will always have a defensive buff, unless you're a Nightblade. Now if you're a Nightblade, you're not going to have a defensive buff. It's built into your skill line, so you're going to want to use that skill and you're gonna want to spam it pretty much along with this. So it's in the weapons skill line. But if you read the skills in each thing, the Nightblade has one skill that'll activate its resistance buff, and it does damage. And it's like concealed weapon and something else. I forget the other morph. But you're gonna want to use that one. It's in the middle bar, first skill. That's the one you're gonna want to use as your spammable. Now, the one other thing you're going to do is use anything that's going to make you survive better, because playing one bar build is a lot harder than it looks. Then you're going to need something that's going to help you resource-wise, if you have something within your class that way. Like, if you're playing a Dragon Knight, I would suggest using, like, your weapon buff, the thing that gives you the weapon damage, and it's going to give you minor brutality as well. And then if you're playing like a Templar, using your defensive buff with like an AoE heal and damage thing. They have one, it's called Ritual Retribution, that's like that, and it bases off of your highest stat skill. So it's going to be max stamina, weapon damage it's going to scale with, or it's going to scale with spell damage and max magicka. So that one's really good to put on your bar, because it also gives your group a synergy to use. And you're gonna basically keep it up whenever it comes off. Anytime that you cast it, you wait for it to wear off, you're gonna recast that one. But it does damage over time, and it heals you every second. Another thing is having a self-heal, or something that's gonna keep you alive. That's gonna help you out a lot. And not just for one bar play, because one bar play, this is like more when you're solo playing. When you're in a group, you can actually get rid of some of these abilities, because your group's gonna offer you other benefits. In the case of the Warden, I wouldn't change anything, because you have your Bear, that's a damage ability. You have this gives you resources, plus it gives you the major brutality, and this gives you the major savagery, plus it gives you a heal that you can use on your allies anytime you do a light or heavy attack. Then you have Subterranean Assault, which is your AoE damage ability, and it also applies major fracture. And then you have the Cutting Dive, and this does damage. So, and the way it works is anytime that you do your light attack, or you start to do your rotation. So I'm going to do my buffs again. And the way your rotations work is this. Always start with the light attack, diving, birds, whatever. Then Subterranean Assault, light attack. Sorry, you're going to weave light attack in between everything. So then you're going to do birds, light attack, birds, light attack. And by the time it does this, your Subterranean Assault will be ready again. Then you're going to light attack. So you're just going to basically light attack in between every use of an ability. This way, when you do it on full speed, it's going to look like this. Okay? And it's going to go really fast. It's going to be a lot faster than that when you practice. Now, get this precursor dummy, because this thing can help you improve your rotation. Because of how you have to play with one bar, you're going to want to do that. Now, for some classes, again, you're not going to have a lot of this stuff. So some are going to have to focus more on using the dual wield skills or two-handed. For dual wield, I would use something like Blood Craze and Steel Tornado. Now, this is the reason I would use these two, is because I'm going to show you here really quick why. I'm doing a really bad job with this. But you see how it works? You're just spamming that spin to win. Every ability, you're doing. So with this, you're going to do the Blood Craze. This is going to put a dot on the enemy. So let me go up to this big guy. So what you're going to do is you're going to basically keep your buffs up. That light attack, spin to win, light attack. 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 And then do Blood Craze right before it wears off. Now remember, Blood Craze takes 8 seconds. or 10 seconds, something like that. So I always do 3 with it, because that way I can just keep up. So that way I can keep that up. Now let's talk about sets, because this is another question I'm going to get asked a lot. What are going to be the better sets? Well, for any stamina-based character, it's going to be good to go with something that's going to help you boost your max stamina. So there's a set called Hulking Draugr. Now this drops in, I think it's Crypt of Hearts. Crypt of Hearts is really easy to run on normal or veteran. You can get this in blue jewelry if you want to get started, and then use that blue jewelry to play in veteran so you can get it in purple. And then that way you have a full set of purple. Now, as you can see, Hulking Draugr just gives you a lot of max stamina. Max stamina improves how hard your abilities can hit and everything else. The other set we're using is called Griffin's Jack. Now this drops in Somerset. It is a medium armor set that drops an overland there. So it'll drop at delves, it drops at public dungeons, and it drops at world bosses. You can also buy it from guild traders. And this set is going to give you weapon critical, weapon damage, and then after dealing direct damage, you gain minor force and minor expedition for 3 seconds, increasing your critical damage done by 10%, and you're increasing your movement speed by 10%. The reason why I say this set is good, this is a good general starting setup, because you get that minor force. This means you don't have to use Trap Beast. Now, if you are playing another class that you can take advantage of more skills on your bar, using Trap Beast is going to be something you're going to want to do. In the case of, say, a Nightblade or something, because you're going to be using that spammable to get the buff, you're also going to be using like Mirage from the main skill line. You're going to be using a few other abilities, plus maybe a self-heal. So you're going to be using a lot of things like that. So you could put, from the Fighters Guild, you could put Trap Beast on your bar, or a rearming trap. So that way you can get minor force. And then you could put it in some order like this. And then if you're doing that, I would suggest using Dawnbreaker. So this way you can get that higher weapon damage. So I'm gonna move this off my bar, and I'm gonna do some quick adjustment here, just to show you guys what I mean by using the Trap Beast. Now I already have minor force, and I get it pretty well with this setup, but we're gonna go ahead and just do this. Oh, I'm screwing up there. And with Dawnbreaker's super cheap, so you can almost drop it really quick with any stamina DPS. But there you guys go. That one was 16,000. 16,000 DPS, a lot of people are going to say sucks really bad. This is what most one-bar builds do. The only one that can do higher DPS than this is the Warden and the Sork. Now, other classes, like I said, are going to want to take advantage of different things, different sets, different stuff like that. In this case, we are using, with the Warden, we're using the Lover Mundus Stone, because we're going to get higher penetration values, and we also have a higher crit capability. As you can see, we have 39% here. Oops, sorry. We have 49% crit capability there, and then there we have 49. So we almost have 50% with this. And because we're using that green lotus to give us that higher weapon critical plus that self-healing kind of thing. So some classes might work better with Hunting's Rage and other stuff. Now for monster sets, I am using the Krog's monster set, and the reason why I'm using Krog's is Krog's hits in an AoE cone. So it'll do physical damage up front, or physical penetration, on its one piece. The two piece, when you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to spawn Druid limbs that create a shockwave in front of you, dealing 1664 physical damage every 0.4 seconds for 1.2 seconds. This effect can occur once every 3 seconds. And you guys saw, as I was down here fighting, this thing just goes off like crazy. So, Also, yes, you can do it with a bow. I'll show you guys that in a second. Let me go ahead and do this again. And this time, I'm going to go ahead and use my trap beast. I'm going to do this right. Alright, so you guys saw Krogs was going off pretty often there. Now, we didn't do as much damage this time because I did a really lousy rotation, I'm not gonna lie. And I can get better if I have my weapon damage buff. So, I'm gonna go ahead and switch back my skills because I don't need that with the Warden. I can actually do away with the Trap Beast. And we're gonna still leave Dawnbreaker, but we're gonna grab our Ball Netch. This is also going to boost our weapon damage by a small amount. Really? Alright, so now we're going to do that full buff again, and we're going to do that rotation. This time you guys will see, like, I do a lot better. And it's not super great. It's not amazing DPS, like I said. But I get more weapon damage out of my character. I still get the same percentage of crit. Though for some reason it's not showing the penetration stuff. Oh, because I don't have the shulks. So if I have shulks, I have like 11,000 pen. So it's really nice to use shulks instead of that. But for somebody who doesn't have shulks, that's what she can use. Now, if you're somebody who doesn't have shulks, Night Mother's Gaze is a great set for this. So you want to use something like Night Mother's Gaze with, and in some cases, Spriggans. If you use those two in combination, that's going to give you a really good setup for a one-bar build on any class. Except for Warden. Warden doesn't need it because they just have all these different tools. But a lot of other classes can take advantage of those setups. But learn the skills. Learn your skills. Learn how to use them. And you can't even do, like I said, a bow build one. So, oops. It's really hard to time that with a light attack. That rotation with a light attack is really hard. But as you can see, we pulled 17k, and that was with just bow, focus, aim, light attack, endless hail, and absorb stamina. And that's using this bow. Now, if I could use a Maelstrom bow, I'd use 3 agility here. I wouldn't even worry about getting the other thing. I would just put 3 agility here, get a Maelstrom bow, bam. Because this thing will do even more damage, especially with endless hail. Now you can use also with the weapons, the bow, you can also use this with the acid spray. It's not quite as effective as endless hail, but it still works. And I would suggest if you're using a bow build like this, a 1-bar bow build, use Storm Fist. Storm Fist is a much better monster set because it's ranged. So it'll work better for you in that sense. Storm Fist drops in the Tempest Island dungeon. And Krogs drops in the Fungal Grotto 1. And it's really easy to get. I mean, super easy monster set to get. So is Griffins, and so is Hulking Drugger. Like I said, these are really easy setups to get in dungeons because you can run this. You can get an Overland. This you can run on Veteran as long as you have these 2 sets already. Like, you can get this. Now, if you don't have this, Any stamina-based set that you can get from Overland will be a nice start along with this. So, like, Briarheart would be a good one you could put in combination with this. That would give you a really high crit. But it's not going to give you as high a stamina pool. You're going to want to work towards getting something that's going to give you a high stamina pool. That's why I said Hulking Draugr or Spriggans. Spriggans gives you two things, a max stamina, weapon damage, and physical penetration. Because the more physical penetration you have, the more damage you're going to push. And unless you're in a group, a really organized group, it can be really hard to get that really organized high penetration value. Now, the cool thing about the Warden is the Warden doesn't need to use a lot of these abilities. See, we can actually go in here, we can use our Animal Companion here, plus our Bear. Oops. Yeah, I'm going to get my Bear out. And we can use our Shulks. Now, when we do our thing, we can do this. And now remember, I'm not even using my buffs either. 1, 2, 3. He's dead. It's that quick. And it's really, they are really powerful, Wardens are. For the purpose of how they can work. Now, if I do my buffs, again, and this is just to show you guys how you can play a 1-bar build. That's it. And that's with the buffs, okay? So 22k on that. And that's with 2,446 weapon damage, 49% weapon critical, 80% crit damage, 11,000 penetration. And we didn't even use our Bear's ultimate. If we were to use our Bear's ultimate, it would have done a pretty decent amount of damage. This is something it does on its own, the crushing swipe. This is what the ultimate would look like in there. We'll go ahead and do this one more time. And that's with the Bear Ultimate, 24,000. And the Bear Ultimate, when it hits with that, that's the Guardian Savagery. It didn't even crit. If it were to crit, this thing can hit up to 25, 28k. Same thing with a lot of these abilities here. So as you can see, I was doing a decent amount of damage with it, just because I was weaving stuff. And that's the hardest part, is learning how to weave. So, like, weaving is a really hard thing for a lot of people to do because it's just complicated. Wait, where did my Bear go? There he is. So it can be really complicated to weave light attacks. So for this one, the spin to win. You can barely not even see me do the light attacks. Because I can get in there and get in doing it so fast that you don't even you won't even see it. But you can see here my light attacks. I did 8 of them, 4 of them crit, and then my Steel Tornado I did 11 times. So I missed a few in there, but I was still doing it. And I didn't even use my Bear Ultimate. And I still pulled 20k. So the thing you have to understand is learn how to do a rotation. Practice. That's it. Practice your rotation with a 1-bar build, and you can get your damage up there pretty high. Not super high, but high enough to get you through dungeons and normal trials. Now, if I were to use Reliquin with this, and actually, I think it's the Master Dual Wield with Agility and Krogs, I can actually pull like 26k DPS with this character. And this is just a 1-bar build. And like I said, even people who have trouble with 1-bar swapping, can still play even with a bear. Come on. And that was 25k, and that was with a bow. And that's using the subterranean assault. So, but you can, I mean, there's so many different ways to play. The Night Mother's Gaze is great for major fracture. And also if you're using something like the Endless Hail, any enemy that you do damage with the Endless Hail that's in that walks into it is also gonna get that major fracture on it, because as long as you can crit with that AoE, but as long as you can crit with that AoE, you can get that, you're going to get Endless Hail is going to apply major fracture to any mobs. So, and as you can see, we crit 10 out of 21 hits. So, it's pretty nice. And I'll admit, this build kind of sucks, but at the same time, it works really well. So, if you are looking for a one-bar setup, this one works fine. I will do more of these, but it's gonna be a little bit, guys, before I can get them out with the other videos I have going on. But I do plan on doing more one-bar builds for you guys that are, you know, a little bit like myself, have a little bit of a disability. Because I know it can be really hard to play this game. I do. And after I've learned how to do this, it does help me a lot too. So thank you guys for letting me try this and figure this out for you. But that's pretty much it. So if you guys have any other questions, like I said, give me time for builds. But if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask me. I try to do these kind of things to help people understand the game a little bit better with their ways of playing. So, but that's it for the video. If this guy's so you guys know what's coming next. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can hit the subscribe button. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in game. Bye.